A lot of people believe healing comes with closure, an explanation, an apology, a moment where everything finally makes sense. And sometimes that happens, but often it doesn't. Conversations never come. Questions stay unanswered. People move on without acknowledging the damage they caused. And if you're waiting for closure, healing can feel permanently out of reach. The nervous system stays alert, holding space for a resolution that may never arrive. This is where many people stay stuck, not because they can't let go, but because they're waiting for permission to. Closure is often framed as something someone else gives you, an admission, an explanation, a final moment that ties everything together. But when your healing depends on someone else's awareness, you stay connected to them, long after the relationship itself has ended. Living without closure doesn't mean denying what happened. It means accepting that understanding doesn't always require full information. The body doesn't need every answer to move forward. It needs safety. It needs consistency. It needs permission to stop revisiting the same questions. Closure isn't a moment. It's a decision, a quiet one. A decision to stop reopening wounds in search of clarity that may never come. This can feel uncomfortable at first, because unanswered questions leave space, and space can feel unsettling when you're used to filling it with analysis. The mind wants to resolve things, to explain them, to place responsibility neatly. But healing doesn't always require resolution. Sometimes it requires release. Release from needing the story to be fair. Release from needing someone else to see things the way you do. Release from waiting for a moment that would finally let you rest. Living without closure means trusting yourself enough to move forward without a full explanation. It means allowing the chapter to end even if the last page is missing. This doesn't make what happened okay. It makes you free. Over time, something shifts. The questions lose their urgency. The replaying slows down. The past stops asking for your attention every time the present goes quiet. You don't forget. You integrate. You stop waiting and start living in what's available now. Closure, when it comes from within, is gentle. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up as peace where there used to be longing. This is part of the quiet work, letting go without answers, moving forward without permission, and choosing to live fully even when the past never explains itself. There's a moment in healing that catches a lot of people off guard. Things finally calm down. And instead of relief, there's boredom. Not peace, not joy, just quiet. And that can feel unsettling, because when life has been intense for a long time, intensity starts to feel like meaning. Chaos feels familiar. Emotional spikes feel alive, and calm feels flat by comparison. So the mind starts asking questions. Is this it? Why don't I feel more? Shouldn't healing feel better than this? But this phase isn't emptiness, it's decompression. When the nervous system has been running hot for years, calm doesn't arrive as pleasure. It arrives as absence. The absence of urgency, the absence of threat, the absence of constant emotional noise. And absence can feel strange when you're used to everything being loud. Calm feels boring because your system no longer needs to react. No spikes, no crashes, no constant adjustment, just baseline. And baseline doesn't give the mind much to do. So the mind looks for stimulation again. Drama, overthinking, old patterns, not because something is wrong, but because it doesn't yet recognize calm as safe and sufficient. This is where people often self-sabotage without realizing it. They reintroduce chaos. They chase intensity. They create problems just to feel something familiar again. But boredom isn't a sign that healing failed. It's a sign that your nervous system is no longer fighting for survival. Calm isn't meant to entertain you. It's meant to stabilize you. Over time, something subtle happens. The boredom softens. Not because life becomes louder, but because you start noticing quieter forms of satisfaction. Ease, simplicity, moments that don't demand anything from you. You begin to experience contentment without intensity attached to it, and that's unfamiliar. But unfamiliar doesn't mean wrong. Calm isn't the destination, it's the foundation. From it, creativity returns, curiosity returns, desire returns without urgency or pressure. You don't need to fill the quiet, you don't need to rush past this phase. You let it exist. You let your system learn that nothing bad happens when things are steady. Calm doesn't mean life is over. It means life is no longer trying to hurt you. This is part of the quiet work. Learning to stay when nothing is demanding your attention. Letting boredom pass without turning it into a problem. And trusting that something healthier is slowly taking root beneath the surface. There's a belief that healing comes in chapters. That you struggle, then you heal, then you move on, clean, finished. But real life doesn't work like that. Healing doesn't reset you, it integrates you. And that means you don't start over. You continue. A lot of people feel pressure to mark a new beginning, a fresh identity, a clean slate, something that proves their past what they went through. But needing to restart often means you haven't fully accepted where you are yet. Continuing is quieter than restarting. It doesn't come with a declaration. It doesn't require an announcement. It just looks like showing up as the person you already are, with more awareness and less self-judgment. Continuing means you stop measuring yourself against who you were at your worst, and you stop chasing who you think you're supposed to become. You let today stand on its own. Some days will feel steady. Other days will feel familiar in ways you don't like. That doesn't mean you're backsliding. It means you're human. Progress isn't about never revisiting old territory. It's about moving through it with more choice than before. Without panic, without self-punishment, without needing to tear everything down every time something feels off. Continuing without restarting means trusting the work you've already done, even when the results aren't dramatic, even when the changes are internal, even when no one else can see them. You don't need to prove your healing. You don't need to explain your growth. You don't need to convince anyone that you're different now. The quiet work was never about transformation. It was about stabilization, about learning how to live without being at war with yourself, about building something sustainable instead of impressive. Continuing means you stop asking, "Am I healed yet?" and start asking, "What supports me today?" Some days the answer is rest. Some days it's movement. Some days it's doing very little and letting that be enough. You don't abandon the path just because the scenery repeats. You walk it differently now, with less urgency, with more compassion, with a steadier nervous system that no longer needs everything to make sense. This is how healing actually holds. Not by closing the book, but by learning how to live inside the story without fighting every page. The quiet work doesn't end here. It becomes part of how you move forward, not louder, not faster, just more grounded. You don't need to restart. You're already on your way, and that's enough.